This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. Pannell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border. And the new Capital OTB mobile app. Wager anytime, any place, anywhere. Download it free from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Monday morning, live from the Saratoga backstretch as we wrap up the next to last week up here at Saratoga. Big weekend, Travers and Lady Eli, plenty of big action on Saturday, a nice day yesterday as well, but we're going to wrap it up a little bit later on. Alan Carter, he's going to come in and talk about his new book, focusing on New York breds. It is From American Eclipse to Silent Screen, an early history of New York breds. He'll have some signings around. Alan, the historian over at the National Museum of Racing, a great compendium of New York breds. They played into the game earlier than you would think. I go back to like Fiorito in the race up here, the Whitney, but they were players in the state going back quite a ways, and nationally as well. We'll hit on that with Alan coming up in a while. Teresa Gennaro will make her regular weekly appearance to give us a calendar of events coming up over the remaining time we have up here at Saratoga. It is dwindling down, but we start the show with our friend Ron Nicoletti from Gulfstream Park. Always happy to have Ron stop by when he's in town. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Seth. Nice to be here. And boy, oh boy, what fantastic weather. What a week to come up here. I've just been enjoying it so much. I actually go out at 6:30 in the morning just to sit outside because for me it feels like air conditioning.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a whole change from down at Gulfstream in the summertime. When we're down at Florida Derby, it's perfect. We love it. But summertime, it can get a little steamy down there, so a nice break for you.
Definitely, and enjoying it very much. And great racing throughout the whole weekend. Saturday, what a fantastic day.
And let's touch on that a little bit and get some of your opinions, because one of your boys and the horse I was on through the Derby Trail did very well. We'll watch the stretch run here from the Travers on Saturday. West Coast, the number 3 horse wins. But Gunnevera, coming off the little confidence builder, about a month or so ago down at Gulfstream, he runs a big second in here.
And he came out of that, he came back for the Tangella. It was basically a race they rode for him, and he looked like a different horse. He was bigger, he was stronger. He was never a great looker as far as that went, but I was really impressed when he won impressively, and I was expecting a big effort, and I talked to Antonio Sano in the paddock a couple of days before, and he said, what are you thinking to happen? He goes, I'm fresh. And that was what his key was. And you saw a great turning for home. I still have no voice left because it was the South Florida connection. And, of course, I bet him to win in place, and I wanted him to win. But, West Coast, all week long, when I saw the entries, I said, this horse is going to the lead. Everybody was doubting me. He took Always Dreaming out of his game by going to the lead. Mike Smith, a great ride. And I think that there's a little bit more pace stool up front. Maybe it turns differently for Gunnevera.
Yeah, again, I was on that horse through the Derby Trail, so like you, I had some across-the-board money. I couldn't completely jump off at 24-1. So top of the stretch, I was right with you. Oh, this could turn out well.
What about West Coast?
West Coast, I had West Coast in the mix. I had IRAP in the mix. I used Always Dreaming also in my mix, and Good Samaritan. Or Tapper. Good Samaritan, I was going back and forth with. So I was 1-3-4, but again, because I was in tune with Gunnevera earlier, I threw him in a little bit to play as well. But as I said on the handicapping show earlier, I made a mistake playing the trip. I played 560 for 50 cents, and I was not as confident with Gunnevera as I should have been, unfortunately. But I wound up with
the old zig when you should zig.
The last 5 days has been all about that for me. But what's your opinion? We talked about it yesterday on our show, where I'm in here hosting with Steve Bick, had Lenny Shulman in as well. And they mentioned, and I hadn't even thought out of the box, with this one now, this 3-year-old picture is so up in the air. They were saying, maybe you have to look at Oscar Performance.
I mean, you could look at everyone. That's how I feel about it. No one jumped up and said, okay, this is my game. Now does West Coast, come back and, take off like, Arrogant did last year? We'll see.
Which would make a difference.
Which would make a difference. I really don't know. I think the races going forward are going to be great betting races because of such a wide open division. So I don't think we have that star this year. And that does happen some years. You don't get horses that, win the Triple Crown every year or do something. And this is the way it used to be, where it was a wide open affair. So we'll see how things work out. And for handicappers, this is what you want because you can make some money. If you can do your homework, you can score.
Yeah, the Alabama last week, the favorites at 4-1. On Saturday, the favorite Good Samaritan at 7-2. And so it just goes to show the betting public is just as confused as Eclipse voters like myself trying to decide things. But it may be a year where you have to look at a 3-year-old on turf like Oscar Performance, unless a West Coast can't pull an Arrogate. I just don't see it from this 3-year-old division, but a West Coast maybe. That at this point now there's still the Pennsylvania Derby, but then they're going to have to face older. I just don't see it from this group. But if one of them could step up and make a nice performance against older horses.
And just to touch back on Guinevere needs the race to go its way. He's pace dependent. So that horse here, if he ever gets the right pace, he certainly is good enough to win, as we saw the other day. But he needs everything to unfold in front of him to win. And that's always something that I sort of back off when a horse is pace dependent because he needs that luck.
Yeah. You're always kind of up against it a little bit. It's like those come from the clouds kind of horses that need a certain pace up front to really make it play out for them, and the traffic has to be right and whatnot. Let's touch also on a couple other thoughts on Saturday. Songbird gets beaten. Still, it was a nice performance, and the winning buyer was about a 98. She's tossed in some triple-digit buyers, but if you look down her past performances, 97 or 98 is not a regression for her. I mean, that's right within her wheelhouse. So it's just a nice performance by the upsetter there at 2-1, an upsetter on a short field, but nice day for Dallas Stewart with Forever Unbridled.
Yeah, and of all the horses that I had a little doubt with was probably Songbird. I just didn't think the race played out the way it was. And, the finishing second, like you said, wasn't a great loss for this horse, and she'll live to fight another day for sure.
Lady Eli put an exclamation on the day. I've said it like 100 times so far. After the Travers, people are streaming on the track because they come for the Travers. They're there for the party. They're not real racing fans. You want to go, whoa, there's a great story about to happen out here, and it played out just the way you wanted it.
Well, I'm lucky enough to live close by, so I stay close by, not live close by, so I was able to scoot off to my cousin's farm after the Travers and watch Lady Eli. And what a great story that is.
Yeah, that she did what she did just to come back with something, but to come back at the highest level of the game, she has added certainly a good story to the racing game. All right, you've been in town for a few days. How's the handicapping going?
Up and down, just like you were saying. Yeah, I'll go into the window, and that's where I'm making my mistakes. But I've been lucky. Of course, Tyler Gaffalione, the leading rider with wins in the country, has ridden a couple of horses here. So the other day I walk in, I said, this is it. I'm going to score here. Going to get Roy Lerman off the duck. Everything is going to go. He crosses the wire first, 25-1. I've got $20 to win on him. I said, this is going to be a great day. Down. So that's basically my story.
I had a similar story in the finale yesterday where there was a DQ as well. It's a tough game. There are many ways for it to go wrong. But again, we're happy to have you in here today, kind of the busman's holiday, because usually you're down. And give us a little update. Guinevere again had that little prep race a few weeks ago down there. How's the summer season going over at Gulf?
Well, the summer season is great. I mean, they're just very successful. We have those big fields, turf racing, and that is always the key to success. And just actually downloaded the PPs for Thursday. I'll be back Thursday, 11 race card and full field. So I'll be very busy on the airplane riding home tomorrow, handicapping Thursday's car. But it's been a fun summer, and always in South Florida. You dodge the raindrops and have some fun. But we have a lot of turf racing, and that's basically what we look forward to.
And the nice thing now is the past couple of years in particular, but Tim Riflow's done a great job. A lot of familiar names still down there in the summertime.
Yeah, and we just, like I say, great crew, good fun to work with, and my co-host, two now, I got Jason Blewett, who was up here for many, many years, and Acacia Courtney, so always fun to work with those two guys, and they try and out handicap me, but... It just doesn't work.
No out handicapping. All right, let's get some handicapping opinions for you. As I say, a little busman's holiday. We'll pull you in to get some Saratoga thoughts on Monday afternoon. Let's kick things off taking a look at race number 6 today, a plain vanilla 32 claimer, mile and a 16th on the grass. I went 2, 4, 10, and 9. The 6 was also interesting to me, and I said on the handicapping show, I'll also have some money on the 8 because I'm kind of married to Jonathan Shepard. I couldn't put the horse in the mix, but at 20 to 1, I always play his horses, so I'll have a little money on the money train. But I thought the Great Samurai, also at 20 to 1, I'm going to be interested to see if the betting public holds that up, because I think if you go to the race 2 back, I think the Great Samurai fits very well. Jose Ortiz on board, that attracted my attention. Bellows is pretty consistent and hot and heavy. I think on a best effort is capable, and he is on one of those good, bad kind of patterns. So I think hot and heavy, to me, as I say, also could be a player in here. For me, 2, 4, 10, and 9. What did you see?
I want you to look at my top pick.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that's, when we get to 20, we'll see. But I'll certainly take half of that.
Well, Great Samurai, I think, sits the trip in here. You look at that performance, two starts back. You know, his second against a $40,000 open claimant. Better post today. What I've noticed over the last couple of days here, when you go into the outer post, when you move inside, horses have been running better. That doesn't mean they all win. So I saw this. You got Jose Ortiz, 20 to 1. I'm running to the window. Now, the 3 in corporate looks like the speed in there, but it's always that angle of stepping up off a maiden win. But I think that horse, is the one to beat if it can repeat that, because I don't see a lot of other speed in here. And then I closed it out with the One Thirsty Actor and the 4 Bellows, but I'll go back and look at that number 8. But we're thinking alike with Great Samurai, and now that we're both struggling at the window, I don't know if that's a good idea.
But do you like that when incorporate a horse comes out of a maiden and took 8 starts to do it, but do you have some kind of thought of once they kind of figure it out, sometimes they can move forward from
That's
that?
a great point you're making, because you see that a lot of times a horse will break maiden after. We had one in Gulfstream a couple of weeks ago. It was 1 for 25, came back. 0 for 25, won, came right back and won again. They seem to get in that groove. They say, hey, now we know how to do this. So that is, and that one, Javier Castellano.
That sticks.
That's
also.
just the pace. Angle for me with that one.
And certainly in these races up here, if you can find one that can sneak away, that becomes very, very dangerous. 7th race this afternoon, allowance non-winners of 1, other than 5.5 on the grass. I went 8, 7, 6, and 3. I put Vigor on top. This one took 4 starts to figure it out. Did it pretty successfully last time, and off of that, I think he can come right back and get it done with Jose Ortiz sticking on board. And then I put the 2 Pat Kelly horses underneath. Fire Key off the nice win. Eloise probably has to step it up a little bit, adds the blinkers, and the races, the numbers, when we go back past the last one, I think are pretty good. But there's a question mark on that one. Cutbacks on the turf, not as potent as on the dirt, but I think Eloise could be a player. Between the 2 Pat Kellys, I'd much prefer Fire Key, but I do think it goes through the 8. So I have it 8, 7, 6, and 3. What are your thoughts on the 7th?
Well, I'm going to tip my hand here where I come from by picking your 3 in there, and that's Orachete. And this horse, ran exceptionally well at Gulfstream a couple of starts back. And boy, Jonathan Thomas has been down here a while. All his horses look great. They run great. You look at this horse, always against horses, next out winners. So I think that Tyler Gaffalione, as I mentioned, been riding. If you don't know, watch this kid ride. He's an excellent rider. So Orachete on top of my ticket. I see a lot of speed in this race. And now I'm going to do a family pick here in second, and that's the 10 First Charmer, who's from my cousin Tom Miner's. Barney bred and ran this horse. This horse, we're expecting to run well. He got beat. He was 5th last time out. Lots of speed in here with the 3, the 4, and the number 8. I think the 10 sits a trip. Jose Lascano. Got to deal with that outside post, but here's a horse that could be on the ticket. But it's a family affair, like I mentioned. So my cousin Tom's horse on my ticket, and if I didn't do that, he wouldn't let me come up here again.
And you said he's got a farm just outside of town.
Just right outside of town near Skidmore College.
His Kerry training. We had Kerry on our show. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. He's the leading trainer. He won the first race of the meet. So there was one race where he was the leading trainer up here at Saratoga, but he's fun. He's a local guy, so I always like to root for him as well on the training side of the game. So we'll look for you potentially in the winner's circle after race 7.
Okay, you'll see me out there.
That'll be fun. 8th race this afternoon, the feature, and it is a very, very competitive feature race. With I think you can make a pretty strong case for my top 3, and there are a couple others that wouldn't be a surprise. But in the better talk now, 2, 1, 7, and 6 for me. Snap Decision. I could have gone either way on Snap Decision and Blind Ambition. Snap Decision just might have a slight edge, but a very slight edge. I want to keep saying Blonde Ambition because that's the movie. But Blind Ambition, 2 for 2 on the turf for Todd Pletcher. As I say, it could have gone either way there, but for me, 2 on 7 and 6. What did you think?
We're going to exact the flip-flop, and the reason I went with Blind Ambition, you look at that race back May 28th at Gulfstream Park, and I wanted to make this point. You see it's 7 1/2 furlongs. 7 1/2 furlongs at Gulfstream Park with the run-up that we have is a mile. It says 7 1/2 furlongs. So this is a key that I always pretend. People say, well, 7 1/2, isn't that a sprint at Gulfstream? It's not a sprint. It is a route race, and it's a mile. So off that performance, but I'm in agreement with you. I think Snap Decision sits the trip behind the speed. And that was my theory with that. And I threw the 3 in, the hieroglyphics in third, just off its current form. Todd Pletcher, who's beaten me constantly for the last 5 years. So why not again today?
and he's having a great meet. And that's part of the fun of this meet, the human side of things. Certainly very intriguing. Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown, and then the 2 Ortiz brothers banging it out. To me, that's one of the fun stories as we get to the end of any Saratoga meet, and this year it's not going to be an exception. More important than other meets, it seems like.
And it looks like both Todd and Chad are looking to get their leading trainer title here, and they're just throwing things out left and right. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I have. Them saying, it looks like many times they said, we don't really care if we win the title, we just want our horses to run well. Not true.
Yeah, the last couple of days there were a couple in there like, oh, okay, somebody's trying to get a win here, which is kind of fun. Also, talking about home cooking and whatnot, Jaime Mejia has had some starters up here.
Yeah, he's had a bunch up here this summer, and I got a chance to meet him, and I did a seminar up in Ocala last month or something like that. I'd never met him before, and he was up there, and he was sending it in, so always running, he runs a lot of horses. I was looking the other day how many starters he has throughout the year. So
When we were down for Florida Derby, he had like a couple of crazy horses that week leading to Florida Derby, and then the day after there was the mandatory, and he kind of blew up that sequence.
Right.
So I want to say the second leg he pulled one, which I had used in my mix, given what he had done. I don't think he'd had a winner until like the Thursday, and then he threw in a couple of bombs, and so I thought, well, I'll throw him in the mix here.
Well, that's a good angle with him. You'll see, and he'll go, I can't put this trainer on. I can't use this trainer. And all of a sudden he pops with a couple of horses, and like you said, then they pay double-digit odds, if not triple-digit, so payoff. So always got to keep an eye out for that. That makes, like you said, the fun of it, all these different trainers, getting together here and trying to figure it out.
And coming in from different areas is what makes this so much fun and intriguing in some of these races, and adds to the same kind of interest on a Gulfstream and that winter meet. They come in from different areas, the jocks come in. But as I say, the rest of the year at Gulfstream, very good now too, as the program has kind of stepped it up thanks to Tim Rippo and company down there over the past couple of years. Ron up here for a little vacation, but you're back on Thursday.
I'll be back on Thursday.
So we can look for Ron back on the simulcast signal down at Gulfstream on Thursday. But we had him here today. As I say, the Busman's Holiday comes in. Always fun to have Ron Nicolay live with us on the set. Good luck this afternoon.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Alan Carter, he has the new book out focusing on kind of the history of New York breds. He is the historian over at the National Museum of Racing. So we'll talk to Alan right after this. Stay tuned.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. CapitalOTB.com offers live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, and a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform. And best of all, you get track prices. Going on now, it's Bet 50, Get 50. Simply open a Capital Bets account, bet $50, and get $50 cash back. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Nighttime Thoroughbred Racing is back at Capital OTB. Now through Labor Day, Capital OTB will be accepting wagers on nighttime thoroughbred racing from across the country, featuring evening racing from Del Mar and Woodbine, and now it's even easier to be part of the action. Simply log on to CapitalOTBBet.com on all your digital devices, or use our newly designed mobile app. So even when the sun goes down, thoroughbred racing continues at CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Not at the track? and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system, and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's touch-tone wagering system. Never get shut out again. In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Monday morning. Seth Merrill, thanks for joining us. We are brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com. Again, live from right in front of Clare Court. It is a gorgeous morning, cool, comfortable, and should be a beautiful afternoon here at the racetrack. I've said it many times before. I was here the day Fiorito broke through the gate in the Whitney, was reloaded and won as a New York bred coming in from the Finger Lakes. Les Hewlett on board that day. Kind of, for me, the stepping stone of the New York bred program to move forward from. But there's a brand new book out there, From American Eclipse to Silent Screen, written by Alan Carter, that is a tome that covers more of the history of New York breds going back before Fiorito. We're happy to be joined now by Alan Carter. Good morning.
Good morning, Seth. In fact, I was there for the Fiorito thing, too. In fact, I had included in my book, and then I was doing the conclusions, with the exception of Fiorito, everybody was not cashing in on the great awards, and said, "White, we'll just got rid of them." But there's a funny story about Fiorito, how they got him. Lasessa was the name.
Yeah.
He was a contractor around Rochester and got involved in a little bit in the Finger Lakes racetrack, and he bought a training track for horses to use. And one day, his friend was a veterinarian, was auctioning off horses, and he wanted to use the track for his venue. He says, "Fine, no problem." And he was trying to push up the money just to help his friend. He got stuck with Fiorito. a $1,500 claimer for both the dam and sire.
That's pretty good to get stuck like that and wind up winning
Should
the
happen to
Whitney
me.
as well. And as I said, for me, that was kind of where the launching pad for the New York breds. But it goes back before that. Really, your book mentions the breeding fund, 1973, where the legislature kind of started to push New York breds.
Yeah, but it was 1823 is going back. That was when American Eclipse is also in the Hall. There's two New York breds in the Hall of Fame: American Eclipse and Ruthless.
And what was the impetus for writing the book?
Just Mike Beach and I were sitting around one day in the wintertime talking, and we're talking about New York breds, and I said, "Mike, there's no way to know who's a New York bred and who isn't." And he says, "You're right." And I just started just for the hell of it, just something to do, and I got really intrigued. There was a couple of OMG moments, like Glenn Elk, who was is on the cusp of being a Hall of Famer. And it turns out he was a New York bred. He was conceived in England, and Roderick Cameron brought him back with a horse called Leamington, and brought Babta was the dam, and she was in foal to Glenelg, and he was dropped in Staten Island.
Wound up winning the Travers, and your book also uncovers that there are more New York bred Travers winners that we may have realized.
Yeah, sure. In fact, Fenningen actually, the Belmont, he was supposed to not win the Belmont because Belmont wanted Fenningen to win for some reason, and they had to strangle the horse to keep him to finish second.
One of the things in kind of prep and reading, I found this a little bit interesting. As you were doing your research, you uncovered, we all know the hopeful stakes, but there was the 180-degree stakes out there that you also had uncovered.
Yeah, that wasn't me. That was Mike Beach. And I ran across it. Yeah, he's right. It was about 1931, a couple of weeks before the hopeful, they ran the hopeless for 4-year-old maidens.
That's pretty good. I would kind of like to see that again. The hopeful one week and the hopeless a couple of weeks after that. Another great story that uncovered in the book. We talk about these days the horses who they're very lightly raced. They are, they space the races out. Well, go back to a match race: American Eclipse and Sir Heavy. American Eclipse, a 9-year-old. Sir Heavy, a 4-year-old. Talk a little bit about the match race.
Yeah, that was one of the great races of all time. I mean, it was in the new Union course in New York City, or maybe I think it was in Westchester County. And they decided to have a match race, the American Eclipse, who never lost, and he was going against Sir Henry, who was a 4-year-old, and so from the south versus the north. And he lost the first race, the first heat. There's 3 4-mile heats. He lost the first 4-mile heat. They waited, and then 10 minutes later, they ran the second heat, and he won the third heat. They switched jockeys back to Purdy. And it was 96 furlongs in an hour and a half. And Ghost Zapper, in his 3-year-old career, he's in Hall of Fame, only raced 86 furlongs.
It was a different world, as they say.
I'm not saying we should go back to 2 out of 3 4-mile heats, but I think we're going too far the other way.
Yeah, there is a little bit of the bubble wrap kind of scenario now as compared to the old days. That was a little bit of a change, certainly. 4-mile heats and 3 of them in the course of an hour and a half. Also, the book. And I noticed when I pulled up the chapter page, it seems to be the biggest chapter, and I can't argue with it. As a guy who grew up in Amsterdam, a lot of coverage of Sanford Stud.
In fact, I think the book really should be dedicated to Stephen Sanford. It was his idea. He wanted to prove that you could actually breed champion horses in New York State without the bluegrass and the rough winters, and he did. From the period about 1900, about 1915, they were probably one of the most successful breeding farms in the country. And just rattling them off, the Rockton and Mohawk II and Chuktanunda and Kaffnawaga, and they just go on and on. And
Molly Brandt in New York?
Molly Brandt, oh yes, Molly Brandt and Caneto and Vale. They're all stakes winners, and Mohawk II might have been the best, but he got hurt, and he only won 2 stakes in like 1 week, and then he got hurt in 3 years, and then he had a disastrous breakdown.
But certainly they're one of the prominent names in horse racing nationally, and again, they were right down the road here in Amsterdam when I grew up. Another notable New York-bred stat floating out there, going back to the Woodward of 1968, Damascus defeated by Mr. Wright, a New York bred.
Yep. In fact, George Zagruder, he was a real estate tycoon and built a lot of hotels. And for a wedding present, his daughter, got a funny name, I can't remember now, Charlene or something like that, she married Eddie Duchin, who was the son of Peter Duchin and a musician himself. And for a wedding present, he gave them Mr. Wright. It didn't turn out too good at first, but he finally wound up being one of the top handicap horses in the country. He won the first horse to win the Santa Anita handicap and the Woodward in the same year. And in the Woodward, he beat Damascus at even weight.
Talk a little bit about the process of writing the book. How long did it take, and what was the research that went into it?
Yeah, it took a long time because you really had to dig. It wasn't easy, which is what I like. It wasn't a while. And I think 15 years ago you couldn't do it. You had to have I used the Fulton History, which is a great website for history, and the Daily Racing Form, digital form, and the New York Times digital form, and at first I just plugged in New York Breds. That's one funny thing about this, that nobody ever called Sanford Stud horses New York Breds. The first time you ever saw a New York Bred actually mention the New York Bred was Sally's Alley, who was a great 2-year-old filly of 1922 by Willis Kilmer. But before that, they never referred to him as New York Bred for some reason. I guess it wasn't really important where you were bred.
Yeah, that's interesting. In your research, what would you say was maybe the most interesting factoid you came up with?
Boy, there's so many. I don't know. I think that one about Glenelg really intrigued me. But there were so many. I just can't come up with all of them. I know that thing about the
4-mile heats
Mr. Wright.
is certainly interesting.
And also Alarm, another one. Now Alarm was one of the top speed demons in the country. In fact, one they considered the fastest horse of his generation. And he's even better. This is a New York bred, John Hunter. He bred Himyar, who in turn bred Domino, who was probably he's had a very short breeding career, about 3 years, and he died, but he's one of the top breeders, not only in the Hall of Fame as a spinner, but he's one of the top breeders in the country.
Yeah, it's, again, a fascinating read from American Eclipse to Silent Screen and early history of New York breds. As I say, if you follow New York breds and you've been around the time I have, Theo Rito was kind of the launch pad, but this goes back many, many years before that. So it's interesting to kind of read the history of the New York breds. Where is the book available?
Okay, you get it either, of course, the National Race Museum gift shop. You can go to Connection or Impressions, the Lyrical Ballad, 5 Points, or the Northshire bookstore.
You also have some signings coming up this Thursday at the Racing Museum, and what coming up?
Yeah, then sometime in September, I think it's the 8th in Northshire, and also I'm having Thursday at the Racing Museum.
It's Thursday at the Racing Museum if people on. I have my signed copy right here. I appreciate that. And again, highly recommended. Nice history of the New York breds in the racing game. And as I say, a lot of research went into it. I'm sure. How long did it take?
A couple of years. But it was fun.
Yeah,
it was.
I was thinking exactly that. You kind of dig through, and even if you don't find things that are maybe pertinent to the book, I'm sure there's plenty of things that just.
And also, I wasted time on a couple that Mr. Was it Top Row or something like that was supposed to be New York bred, and it wasn't.
You found out some of them weren't New York breds.
Yeah. In fact, I did all the research on him, and he was great. Won the St. Ena handicap, and turned out he was they were calling him New York breds, and they were wrong. He was bred in Kentucky.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. But again, there was a period where that probably wasn't as important as it is now.
No.
Interesting. Again, from American Eclipse to Silent Screen, you can find it around town, the National Museum of Racing gift shop. Swing by on Thursday and get your copy signed. Alan Carter, historian at the National Museum of Racing. Appreciate the visit this morning. Good luck with the book.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, calendar events, Teresa Gennaro, much, much more. All of that when we return. Stay tuned.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices, to know how to connect the dots? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool, but not the only tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. These too are important tools, and you'll find them all right here at Capital OTB. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
With more than 60 easy bet and branch locations throughout the region, you're just a short drive from all the top tracks across the country and around the world. For a complete list of all easy bet and branch locations, visit CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB. We're closer than you think.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrow.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Monday morning. Monday morning, that means a visit from our friend Teresa Gennaro, Brooklyn Backstretch blog, and much, much more. The calendar of the upcoming week, which encompasses the last days of Saratoga. Boo-hoo, but good morning.
Boo-hoo! And it's freezing.
Friday. I think it's Friday. We're not getting out of the 60s. Fall has arrived.
Yeah,
too early. Although then bounces right back for the weekend.
Right. Yeah.
Which is
but
good.
it was chilly. I was, typing at home this morning, and I thought, I think I need to put the heat on.
Well, yesterday in the press box, I think they had the AC on. At one point, I was walking right behind you into the press box, and outside it was kind of okay, and the door opened. I was like a refrigerator.
Yeah. Yes. The scarf. We got the sweater.
But invigorating, however, and it's going to be a gorgeous afternoon. Sun's out. It's going to heat up. It's going to be a great day here, and we will hit on calendar events. Before we do that, I always mention you not only do the Brooklyn Backstretch blog, but if folks go there, they can then branch out to other things you do, and I always like to keep up with that. Where else you've been writing for over the past few days?
Yeah, had a column in the Saratogian last weekend about, last Tuesday, about the safety measures that have been taken by the Gaming Commission and NYRA this year. Did a nice little history piece on one of the fillies to win the Travers. Her name was Ruthless. She was one of 5 full sisters known as the Barbarous Battalion. Pretty cool. Unfortunately, she was on her owner's farm in what is now the Bronx, and a hunter shot her. So not a happy ending for one of the filly Travers winners. Yep. Worked on something for the racing biz on the changes to the steeplechase apprentice jockey rules this year, where apprentice jockeys are no longer permitted to ride at Saratoga, which is a really big move, and there are some apprentice jockeys who are not so thrilled about that. So kind of running the gamut here.
And again, if folks go to Brooklyn Backstretch, your blog, they can get links to all those.
Yep, and obviously, if you still do print, we've got a lot of race recaps and racing stories in the Blood Horse and New York Breeder magazine.
And folks can follow you on Twitter as well, which I'm sure links out to that stuff.
Yeah.
No following me. Before the meet, I almost jumped out. Maybe the last week I'll do that. Maybe
gotta
I'll surprise
do it.
people.
You got to do it.
I bought a new phone just for it, and I haven't done a thing. So
I'll tutor you.
Maybe the last. That probably would help. You are clearly far more in tune to that than I am. All right, let's go over some of the things that are coming up over the, as I say, the remaining week. And you, for folks who don't know, school teacher. So
this is it.
No more teachers, no more books. We're 180 degrees from that. Teachers and books, you head back, but you'll be back for the end of the meeting.
24 hours from this minute, I will be sitting in an opening back to school meeting. But I'll be back on Friday.
So back to school.
Which is lovely. Saratoga's great, but, I love teaching. My kids are great. My school is fantastic.
I don't know how lovely it is. But, you hate to see summer end, hate to see Saratoga end, but 1 week in 24 hours, I'll be laying on the beach, hopefully.
Yeah, so that's not so bad.
So
there
are benefits, but hate to see the meet end, and certainly hate to see also low roller end, but we still have a couple left. There'll be one today and Sunday. I'm pretty sure closing day, nothing on Labor Day next week. So you have your last couple of chances today and next Sunday for the low rollers.
I also want to say, unrelated to low roller, but very much related to handicapping, our buddy Jonathan Kinchin, who was on the show earlier in the meet, hit the pick 6 on Travers Day.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and I meant to look up before we came on how much that was, but I'm pretty sure it was a tidy score for him. And he was pretty psyched, and that's obviously something to brag about, taking down a pick 6 on Travers Day. So congrats, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. A nice score there. Again, one of the premier contest players in the country. So a savvy handicapper. I'm going to see if I can savvily handicap. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Savvily?
Yep.
Handicap in the low rollers today. I was right in the hunt towards the end yesterday, but I'm going to see if I can get one more W on my resume before the meet ends. But low rollers today, go towards the 4-Star Day bar area. That's where you sign up. $40, 10 into the prize pool. You play with 30 during the day. Always a lot of fun. Tomorrow, some things coming up. The rerun Saratoga Soiree.
Yeah, it's a really nice fundraiser. It benefits a number of local thoroughbred retirement and aftercare and retraining facilities. It's $100. It's over at the lodge. $100, really a very reasonable ticket for an event like this that benefits such a terrific organization. On my website, you'll be able to find the link. You can also just Google rerun. You'll find it. You'll have some live music. You'll have a carving station, complimentary drinks, and a silent auction, and all proceeds benefit the Horses and Reruns program.
And typically at these events, the silent auction stuff is usually pretty good.
Often just really cool racing memorabilia,
All right, also coming up on Tuesday. And again, this has been a hot button issue for the past couple of years in the racing game. But boy, up at Saratoga, there have been a number of kind of discussions about it. New York Gaming and Racing Board will host a retired racehorse discussion on Tuesday.
Yeah, they did this a couple of years ago for the first time, and I believe they followed up with it last year. And one of the things that they're trying to do is find every racehorse that has retired since 2012, all the New York breds that have retired since 2012, and figure out where they've gone. I mean, it's an incredibly laudable and I'm sure time-consuming effort, and they will be reporting on that. There will also be representatives that day from a variety of local aftercare organizations like Thoroughbred Retirement Fund, Rerun, Valerie Buck's facility, Act Naturally, which is not too far from Saratoga. So, and that's free and open to the public, and it is over on West Avenue at the Empire State College facility.
So Valerie, the other day, we got to get her. She's been a couple of years since she's been in. We got to get her maybe sometime or early next season at the latest. But had Diana Mikulski in the other day, and certainly the guys from Old Friends, like Michael Blown and Joanne Pepper. That. So I always like to promote that as well. All right. Monday ends this next to the last week. Wednesday kicks off the last week. It's Fan Appreciation Week.
It is Fan Appreciation Week, and NYRA has not yet released the details of what that will mean. But last year there were a variety of specials on track. If you had a season pass or season perks card, that entitled you to certain things and certain discounts. Once we get those details, I'll put them up at the site. But nice way to end the meet with some literally rewards for the loyal customers.
Yeah,
here.
Which is always good, and I've been a big fan of the perks card, which is kind of a loyalty card in and of itself.
Yep.
It is a huge, great deal. If you live in town, or you don't necessarily have to live in town, but if you're planning to come to the track, there is a clear break-even point that is not many visits.
Like 7.
But yeah, and I also say, I mentioned if you live in town, because if you do live in town and you think, oh, I got out of work, I'd like to go over for the last 3 races. The card is a great value, and then they added in the perks where you get discounts around town, and so that'll play into again the Fan Appreciation Week as well. Coming up on Thursday, I always like to tout our friend Andy Serling. It'll be the last edition of the radio show from the Parting Glass. I think I've been down to every one. I kind of got there at the end of the day. I was celebrating my basket a little too much at the jockey game, so I didn't get down there till the very end that week. But usually I go down, try to get the hot turkey sandwich dinner and watch the show. There was a big crowd this past week, and usually there's a good crowd, but we'll get our last chance Thursday.
Yeah, and again, those events have not been, those guests have not been released yet. Usually they come out late Monday, early Tuesday. We'll put them up on the site. If you can't be in Saratoga, you can listen to that on the local ESPN radio program, unless there's a Yankee game, which takes precedence. But it's always available on the NYRA website and in a YouTube archive as well.
I'm trying to. I think Todd Schrupp maybe. He said last Thursday who 2 of them would be, and I think Todd was one of them at least for this Thursday. So it should be fun. Thursday night kicks off at 8:00 at the Parting Glass. Coming up on Saturday, our friend Brian Bouet, again, having a book signing with his Bare Knuckles book.
Yep, talking about John Morrissey, the founder of Saratoga Racecourse in 1863, and my historical crush. If I could meet anybody in history, it would probably be John Morrissey. We've talked about him a lot. Really interesting guy, incredibly checkered career. Started out as a bare knuckle fighter from Troy, an Irish immigrant, and ended up an esteemed state senator in New York who breathed his last at the Adelphi downtown, which is honoring him with a bar. So if you've been downtown lately, the Adelphi isn't open yet. It's supposed to open in October. But the awnings are up, and they're going to have a little a bar, pub kind of thing. And it's called Morrissey's, which is a lovely touch.
Appropriate, very appropriate. Again, the book's been out for a while, but a great historical read on the history of Saratoga. Brian, of course, the communications director across the street at the National Museum of Racing. Saturday also kicks off. This is always a lot of fun. And keep in mind, it's different than the opening week, which is Friday and Saturday. Closing week with Labor Day being a holiday. Final stretch, Saturday and Sunday night downtown.
Music, shops open late, lots of people downtown. Wear a sweater. It might be chilly. But it's just a great kind of way to set. kind of a nice way to bring some lightness and levity to what is often a sad weekend. And it's great. Lots of local musicians. It's a terrific way to experience downtown Saratoga.
It's fun, and there's people out, kind of everybody having a good time to wrap things up. Speaking of wrapping things up, and speaking of Diana Mikulski coming in the other day, Sunday the 5K run. The 5K run that benefits horses in retirement.
Yeah, again, the 5 local aftercare facilities that are in and around the Saratoga area. There's a 5K run. I believe there's a 1K fun run for kids. And this year you can bring your dogs. I don't really know what the deal is or if they get prizes or, but you may bring your dog to the fun run, which I think would be pretty cool.
Extra fun.
Yeah, and it's in the Spa State Park, which is also just a beautiful place to go for a run.
That comes up on Sunday. Sunday also, if you don't want to run but you want to walk, the Preservation Foundation, always interesting, particularly if people are coming from out of town. If you're listening and you're coming from out of town, and next Sunday you can take in a little of the history of Saratoga.
And one of the things that people always say when they come to Saratoga for the first time is they're amazed at how gorgeous the architecture is. Just almost anywhere you walk downtown. And this tour this week focuses on the architecture around Circular Street and Union Avenue, on what is the Queen Anne style of architecture. And it's put on by the Saratoga Preservation Foundation.
And this may be a topic for you to write about sometime. I was watching through Capital OTB. I come on the evening news on Channel 10 on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, and they asked me to do a little piece for their Travers special, which they aired last Friday. So I was watching it, and I missed myself. And I wasn't ego watching just to see myself, but I was happy that I did miss myself, actually. But they had a little piece in there, and it was very interesting because it's one of those things that until somebody points to the camera, you don't think about it. But one of their reporters went around and pointed at the architecture of the track and the horse heads that are built into the metal, and the nice job they've done on those back stairs where they've now painted in full color the metal work there that has horse racing scenes, and it just showed some of the beams and things like that, but also kind of that metal work with the horse themes that otherwise you just walk by on a normal day. But really, go when you make your trip over the track this last week, just kind of take time to look around and check out those back stairs. They did a nice job with those.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, it's fun to again kind of take a look at some of the architecture of a very historic facility. And as I say, we just walk by and take for granted on a daily basis. Should mention also just kind of last chance things coming up this week. If you haven't already, stop over at the Racing Museum because they always have good exhibits, good running exhibits, and good kind of seasonal exhibits.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of year that those of us who spend a lot of time up here, we come up here at the beginning of the meeting and go, oh, I have 7 weeks, I'm going to do this and this and this, and now all of a sudden we're like, no, it's closing weekend and I haven't done any of these things. A couple of those are the Tony Leonard photography exhibit at the museum and the Man of War exhibit celebrating the 100th anniversary of Man of War's birth. Getting up to see the retired racehorses at Old Friends at Cabin Creek. Be Bullish, who was such a great New York bred local favorite, among many other horses up there. Will's Way, Cool and Collective, who's owned by Mike Rapoli. There's a great shot of our gorgeous Be Bullish. So get up there. Saratoga History Museum downtown, another great thing if you haven't done that yet. And we should also not forget the final giveaway of the meet, which is on Sunday, and it is the Saratoga wall clock. They gave one of these away a bunch of years ago, and I'm pretty sure it's still hanging in my parents' family room. I don't think it works anymore, and that one was around. You can see this sort of nice square one. Beautiful shot of the Saratoga grandstand there in the background.
It's funny you say that because there's one hanging in our house up in Maine that doesn't work anymore.
I think it probably just needs new batteries.
I was about to say the same thing. I think it would work, but it's kind of hanging there just because it's Saratoga. But now we can update. We can both update with a new clock.
Exactly.
Bingo bango.
And just going back to what you said about the Saratoga Perks card and the season pass, one of the great things about it is if you don't want to join the hordes that get here in the morning to spin and wait in line to get whatever the giveaway is, your Saratoga Perks card guarantees you one of the giveaway items as long as you claim it by 3 p.m. So that's also a really nice element of that program.
A nice perk of the card.
Yep.
Also, we should mention the Larry Colmus best call. You can go up to the third race every day. You can go up for a donation.
Yeah, it's $100 per person, which again, not a lot of money if for such a good cause. It supports the Backstretch Workers, Backstretch Employees Service Team, and you can go up there for the third race and be there with Larry, meet him, and watch him call the race, which is an incredibly cool experience. It's a great view of the track and watching his intensity. It's great. Highly recommend it. So put out that on your final week list of things to do too.
And before we wrap up, I just want to golf clap you and your two compatriots, Barbara Livingston and Susie Rasher.
Yep.
Saw you yesterday in the trivia contest winners box.
Yes!
You guys won the Racing Museum Trivia Contest, took advantage of your prize yesterday. So again, congratulations to you. But now the pressure's on for next year.
Yes, and thank you very much to the Racing Museum. We had a lovely time.
That was I spent you invited me for a couple of races as well, and I appreciated it. So win next year, so I can get a couple races in the front row box as well.
We'll do our best.
Before we let you go, also in the box, you told a fun and really great story about a winner a couple of days ago that subsequently you have kind of had an attachment to through your name and the name of the horse. T Loves a Fight. We mentioned at the beginning of the season you had your own fight, which you have successfully come through clearly, as we've watched you throughout the season do a great job
and
up
watched
here.
My hair grow back.
And we're really happy about that. But relate again the story of T Loves a Fight.
Yeah, it's a little bit long. I'll try to compress it. The horse was trained by Mike Hushin until recently. He retired, and Mike had his own battle with cancer. He had leukemia a couple of years ago. He also is disease-free.
Yeah, he's here on Mark's show. It looks great.
Yep, thrilled to see him. And he was training this horse called T Loves a Fight. And sort of unrelated to the cancer, several people commented that given my spirited personality, let's put it that way, T Loves a Fight was a great name for a horse. And the horse won that day, and that was fun. And Mike and I both sort of, had a little bit of a sentimental reaction to it. That was right after I was diagnosed, and a lot lay ahead at that point. So fast forward, end of May, New York Bred Showcase Day. I'm actually covering the race. T Loves a Fight runs again, wins. Mike Hushin was so kind and gave me a little shout out in the winner's circle afterward and said, this goes out there for all the Teresas who are fighting. I pick up the phone to call the horse's owner, who is in Texas. He proceeds to tell me that the horse is actually named for someone named Teresa. I'm like, no way. This can't be. I write the story. I kept a little blog over the winter for friends and family, just kept keeping them updated on what was going on with me. And I write about this, and lo and behold, Teresa Szymanski, who named the horse, writes in that she was a breast cancer survivor. And it has just been the most incredible experience since the horse ran the day before my surgery. They invited my parents and me to visit with them at Belmont that day. My parents were at the track with me on Thursday when the horse ran. We'd been up in Lake George for lunch, and I said, that's fine, we can go to Lake George, but we have to be back by the 8th race. My two housemates were here as well. We all bet money on the horse and sort of had our fingers crossed when we were watching Downtown on the apron. And as you know, there's no rooting in the press box. We need to be, objective and professional up there. But down on the apron, I didn't, and screamed my lungs out as Johnny V took the horse outside and kind of makes this beautiful late run, starts it right in front of me. And they invited me to the winner's circle, and I was in the picture. And that is my Saratoga high point. And I just, Mike Hushin, Michelle Nevin, the horse's new trainer, has been incredibly generous as well. Lets me go over, feed him peppermints. And Stuart and Kathy Hoffman and Richard and Dick Szymanski, the owners, have just been unbelievably kind and generous to me. And I just want to say thank you to them for this incredible experience I've had with this horse. And I can't wait to see him run at Belmont.
Yeah, that's a good story. That's a very good story. And again, thrilled that you were up here, and we've had you every week to do the calendar. You look great, and we're happy about that. And we're sad, though, last visit.
Here's to 2018.
Back to school. And
yes.
Next week, there's no Saratoga calendar.
No events.
The calendar is, like I say, beach for me, school for you.
Yeah.
But we'll see you again at the end of the week up here for folks who are looking for you around the track. And if they're looking for your work, Brooklyn Backstretch blog. You can follow Teresa on Twitter as well. And I should note, we always say it, and we'll certainly give you credit on the last show as well when we give credit to everybody who played a part. But you help us get our guests here daily as well. So we appreciate that as well. So thanks again all summer long. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Teresa Gennaro, again, the Brooklyn Backstretch blog. You can check it out for all of her work. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. I'll take a couple of minutes just to wrap things up on this Monday morning. Stay tuned.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. Bet any place, anytime at capitalotbbet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Come on! I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Nighttime Thoroughbred Racing is back at Capital OTB. Now through Labor Day, Capital OTB will be accepting wagers on nighttime thoroughbred racing from across the country, featuring evening racing from Delmar and Woodbine, and now it's even easier to be part of the action. Simply log on to CapitalOTBBet.com on all your digital devices, or use our newly designed mobile app. So even when the sun goes down, thoroughbred racing continues at CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to this Monday edition of Racing Across America. We will wrap things up, but I just wanted to update the human side. Very interesting as we head into the last 7 days of the meet. Chad Brown, currently 125 starters, 33 wins. Todd Pletcher, 120 starters, 32 wins. It's 33-32 going into the last 7 days for Pletcher and Brown. On the jockey side, the brothers duking it out. Jose Ortiz, 51 winners. Irod, 45. John Velasquez, 35. Javier, 27. And Manny Franco sitting at number 5. He's had a really good meet. 22 wins for him. So interesting, though, but it's going to come down to the brothers. And with a 6-win lead going into the last 7 days, it'll take some catching for Irod to get up to his brother Jose. But all it takes is a nice day, and they can string them together, certainly. So the human side of things up here at Saratoga, a lot of fun over the last 7 days of the meet. All right, I'm going to wrap things up. Let me hit you with the promos and events, however, here at Capital OTB. Night racing, of course, available on Delmar Racing days through Labor Day. When there's Delmar night racing, there's night racing here on the network. Capital OTB TV or CapitalOTBBet.com, again through Labor Day. Nighttime thoroughbreds. 50-50. The Bet 50, Get 50 promotion continues. Sign up for a new account before the end of the month. Bet your $50 into that new account, and you get $50 into your account. We would love to have you as a new account holder for CapitalOTBBet.com. Bonus Mondays today. If you have an account, take advantage of that. You can find out more information excuse me, on the website. Bonus Mondays for Capital OTB Bet account holders. Pick 4 Monday also. Brian Edo, Pick 4 available today. If you go to CapitalOTBBet.com, you have your opportunity to perhaps become a member of the Pick 4 team. Visit the website for more information. Win a Bet Wednesday comes up on Wednesday, and that is a little handicapping contest available down at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. And finally, just a heads up that the Culver Branch in Utica will have a Fan Appreciation Day coming up Thursday. So if you're a patron at the Culver Branch, we want you to stop by so we can say thank you to you this Thursday starting at noontime. All right. Thanks to Teresa Gennaro. Thanks to Alan Carter. Again, book signing coming up Thursday at the Racing Museum for Alan Carter's book. And thank you, of course, to our friend Ron Nicoletti in town for one more day here before he heads back to Gulfstream Park. Always great to have Ron on the set with us. Going to wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America. As always, let's cash some tickets this afternoon, and I'm talking mainly to me because it's been a rough 3 or 4 days. Handicapping's okay. I'm just making some mistakes, and once you start, it goes downhill fast. But I'm looking to turn things around today. Don't forget, low rollers contest today. I'll be in that as well. So let's make some money. We'll see you back here Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock for the Handicappers Report.
You've been watching Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America has been brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border. And the new Capital OTB mobile app. Wager anytime, any place, anywhere. Download it free from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.